Welcome to this 15-minute video on the endocrine system. My name is Miss Monotone, and you are about to be taken on a ride as we soar through with our brains to the pituitary gland. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you. The endocrine system is one of the main systems that helps maintain homeostasis in the vertebrate's body and includes all of the organs that functions exclusively as endocrine glands, such as the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal gland, and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. The endocrine system released regulatory molecules through these endocrine glands that controls the body's organs. Isn't this fun? Now, and this is very important and exciting, hormones are not to be confused with neurotransmitters, which are regularly molecules released by axons at a synapse, whose main function is...
Stop right there, Miss Monotone. We're kicking you to the curb and we're bringing this video to a whole new level with Rachel the Science Nerd.
Rachel the Science Nerd.
Rach. Science rules. Rachel the Science Nerd.
The pituitary gland is super cool.
Rachel the Science Nerd. I could learn about this all day. Rachel the Science Nerd. Hey everyone, I'm Rachel the Science Nerd. Today's informational video will be about the pituitary gland.
Did you know that? The pituitary gland is a pea-sized gland located at the base of the skull between the optic nerves. It is made up of two lobes, posterior and anterior. The pituitary gland as a whole secretes hormones, which are chemicals that travel through our bloodstream. It is referred to as the master gland as it controls hormone functions such as our temperature, thyroid activity, growth during childhood, urine production, testosterone production in males, and ovulation and estrogen production in females. The hypothalamus is what controls the secretions of the pituitary gland. It hangs by a stalk from the hypothalamus of the brain. It is part of the endocrine system, and the blood carries the hormones to every cell in the body, but only the target cells for a given hormone can respond to it. Now you know!
The pituitary gland is made up of two different lobes. The first is the anterior lobe, which appears glandular. When it is first being formed in the embryonic stage, it is developed from a pouch of epithelial tissue that pinches off from the roof of the embryo's mouth. The posterior lobe of the pituitary is fibrous and it appears between the two optic nerves. It hangs from a stalk which is made up of axons that originate in cell bodies and extend along the stalk as fibers. Both lobes of the pituitary gland are controlled by the hypothalamus, which is located directly above the gland. The hypothalamus regulates the pituitary gland. For the anterior lobe, it is able to make its own hormones while also gaining other hormones through hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system. On the other hand, the hormones that the posterior lobe needs are produced by the neuron bodies in the hypothalamus and then transported along the axon tract, on the stalk, and then stored in the pituitary gland. This is a lot for a pea-sized gland to do.
Hi, my name is Igor, and this is my friend Olga.
Hi.
The growth hormone, somatotropin, is what stimulates the growth in our bodies.
This means that all of our bones, muscles, and tissues grow because of it.
But see, we suffer from giantism, so when we were children, our pituitary gland secreted excess growth hormone from our anterior lobe.
I've always wanted to be a dwarf. That would mean that I would have had less growth hormone secreted and less growing pains.
It also messed up my acting career. I can never seem to fit on the screen.
One day, Igor. One day.
And now, a brief lesson on how the pituitary gland affects our reproductive system.
Hi, my name is Professor Moss, and I'll be your professor today during sexual education, pituitary style. So you know in the pituitary gland there are two different types of lobes. The first one being the anterior lobe. In the anterior lobe, there are tons of different hormones produced. The first one being the luteinizing hormone, or LH for short. And this hormone, it produces and stimulates the testes to produce the sperm it needs in males. But it also is really important in women because it helps during that special time of the month. Another hormone that's produced inside of the anterior lobe is the follicle-stimulating hormone. This is important because it is in charge of ovarian follicle development in women. It also helps with the production of sperm in men, but only when used with the luteinizing hormone. Another hormone that is produced inside the anterior lobe is prolactin, or PRL for short. This stimulates the mammary glands to produce milk in women only when they are pregnant. Now follow me over here. Oh, that's not supposed to be there. Ooh. Since we know all about the anterior lobe from over there, we can now talk about the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. In this lobe, oxytocin is produced, and this is what stimulates milk ejection so that the smooth muscles contract around the mammary glands and the milk comes out. But it also is really important in both men and women because it regulates sexual responses.
Can you repeat that?
Yep, it regulates that sexual response, meaning that all orgasms and sexual arousal that you feel throughout your body is from the posterior lobe of your pituitary gland. Basically, all you have to get out of this lesson is do not have sex, because if you do have sex, you will get pregnant and you will die.
What?
I'm just kidding about the dying part, but if you do get pregnant, you will have to use your neuroendocrine system, and that means there's going to be a whole lot of pituitary gland action going on.
Oh man.
If the pituitary gland does not create enough thyroid-stimulating hormone, or TSH, this affects the thyroid gland and the rate of metabolism. Great changes like this sometimes can be triggered by increased stress, as will be demonstrated in the next clip.
I can't do this anymore.
The anterior lobe of the pituitary is responsible for producing and excreting the thyroid-stimulating hormone, or TSH, which is in charge of stimulating the thyroid gland to produce thyroxine. Thyroxine is important because it builds complex molecules for our body that help produce energy through our aerobic metabolism. When TSH is not produced, it slows down our metabolism, and when it is overproduced, it can lead to hypothyroidism.
Don't you just hate when people stand in line in the bathroom? Like, seriously, can you hurry up in there? Like, what are you doing? Hurry up! I need to get in.
The reason this is happening is because the posterior pituitary gland is just not producing enough antidiuretic hormone that it needs to completely avoid this awkward situation. When alcohol is consumed, without this antidiuretic hormone, the kidneys lack the ability to retain fluids. That's why it feels like your bladder is out of control.
That reminds me of this one story my friends told me. How about this guy just got shot in the head, and I guess it got lodged in his pituitary gland, and he had to go to the bathroom every 30 minutes. So I don't know, like I guess like he would go at like 7:30, and then 8 o'clock, and then 8:30, and then 9, and I just couldn't do that. I don't know. So I guess what they say is alcohol is the same thing as a bullet in the head. And yeah.
Extra hormones. There are two more hormones that the anterior lobe produces that we haven't talked about yet. The first is the adrenocorticotropic hormone, which stimulates the adrenal cortex to produce corticosteroids. These are in charge of regulating our glucose homeostasis. The second hormone is the melanocyte-stimulating hormone. This stimulates the synthesis and the dispersion of melanin pigment. This is what gives our body its coloring. It is also important to remember that the prolactin produced in the pituitary not only helps in the production of milk, but also with regulating kidney function.
There are many problems that can result from a pituitary adenoma. Let's take a closer look.
Doctors have found that 1 in 4 humans may have a pituitary adenoma and not even realize it. Some of these tumors may be benign, but some can have detrimental effects to your health.
These tumors can lead to all sorts of symptoms such as upper body obesity, optic pressure, severe fatigue, and the secretion of the adrenocorticotropic hormone.
Many types of these exist, including thyrotrophic, somatotrophic, lactotrophic, and corticotrophic, each one affecting a different hormone in your pituitary gland.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by Rachel the Science Nerd. Remember, this is a very serious issue, so if you have any questions, call the number at the bottom of the screen.
Thank you for watching our informational video about the pituitary gland. Now here's a music video made by our neighborhood kids to wrap it up. Kids!
A pea-sized gland located at the base of the skull, controlled by the hypothalamus, it never gets old. It's part of the endocrine system between optic nerves. And since it secretes all my hormones, it is in control. It secretes your hormones. Whoa! It secretes your hormones. Whoa! It secretes your hormones. Whoa! It keeps you balanced. Hey! Alright now. It keeps you balanced. Hey! Yeah! This gland is made up of two different lobes. The posterior appears fibrous, but isn't alone. The inferior produces its hormones and appears glandular. And here your hormones are made and then sent away. Oh yeah, it's the master gland. Whoa, it's the master gland. Whoa, it's the master gland. Whoa, it keeps you balanced. Hey, alright now, it keeps you balanced. Hey, yeah, yeah. Produces these hormones. Growth hormone, luteinizing, follicle, prolactin, melanocyte, antidiuretic, oxytocin, thyroid. The pituitary gland. The pituitary gland. The pituitary gland. It keeps you balanced. Hey, alright now, it keeps you balanced.